Broadcasting from Detroit's Cass Corridor, it's the Metro on WDET. I'm Robyn Vincent.
And I'm Tia Graham. Today on the show, Detroit's I-375 project is paused.
Does that mean a chance to get it right, or a project that may never happen?
Also, public art democratizes culture. Allen Park's new murals give beauty and meaning to the spaces we pass through every day.
And Tia unveils her latest episode of Container, celebrating the creative people who are revitalizing Detroit.
Plus, design is in the streets, the stories, the spaces we share. Detroit Month of Design is back, and it's all about people imagining a better future together.
But first, hanging out with friends and connecting to others can feel like a personal choice that comes down to a question like, do I want to spend my time indoors on the phone or out with others? But in reality, that choice is dependent in part on the public spaces that have been developed around us. Despite being in a hyper-connected internet world, connecting with others is often difficult for people to do in our physical world. But the availability of parks and recreation centers can change that, removing friction that sometimes prevents people from bonding and instead creating new memories. That's why the August opening of the Chandler Park Fieldhouse was a big deal. The domed facility features a turf sports field, track, multi-sports court, fitness area, lockers, and showers. So why exactly can recreation centers do a lot to connect people who live nearest to them? And what's the city doing to construct more of them? To discuss that, we have Crystal Perkins with us. She's the director for the City of Detroit's General Services Department. Director Perkins, welcome to the Metro.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you.
So let's talk about the programming that's going to be happening in the Fieldhouse. What kinds of activities are being offered, and what can people do to reserve space in the Fieldhouse?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. We're going to see a vast number of activities in the field house. The current field house was built over field space that was already there at Chandler Park and being used for soccer field, flag football, things of the like. But now that we have enclosed this space, added the dome on top, we're able to do so much more programming. You're going to see we have a walking trail right now, a track that goes around the field. So people can do the walking club that's on that east side can do indoor walking all year long. Beautiful. But we also have the basketball courts, which will double as volleyball and pickleball courts as well. So you'll see some of that programming. We're going to have flag football, speed and agility, soccer all year round. And we can also have other indoor activities like lacrosse and things of that nature.
The words that keep standing out to me is year-round, 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 because the winters in Michigan can feel really isolating for folks. It's only been open for, 2 weeks, but I'm wondering what the reaction has been from Detroit residents, and particularly those who live near Chandler Park.
So the reactions have been overwhelmingly positive. We had over 600 people attend the grand opening, the ribbon cutting on August 20th. And that day alone, we saw close to 50 new memberships at that center for all of our rec centers, because you can get a universal membership as well, which will let you visit all the rec centers at one charge.
It feels like the rec centers are sort of the unsung heroes of the city right now. Again, it's a place where people can commune, especially during those colder months where, as I mentioned, a lot of us struggle with feelings of isolation. It's too cold to go outside.
Correct.
And what happens then is we miss out on some of these really important human connections with our neighbors. Could you talk about that? Why recreation centers matter so much to residents, specifically during the colder months?
So yes, recreation center matter just as much as green space matters, right? But here in Michigan, once we hit late fall through very early spring, late winter, our outdoor space is limited. our outdoor time is limited, not just because of the weather, but we see shorter daylight hours in the city during those times. So having the opportunity and the availability to have that same connection at recreation facilities is great for the body. It's great for the mind. It also gives us an opportunity to continue activities, continue your body to be active during those colder and those colder months where we normally find ourselves indoors. Instead of being isolated, we can still gather with community.
For people who might not immediately see the value in public spaces, even though you've laid out some very compelling reasons that there is a lot of value to them, I wonder if you could paint a picture of what really happens inside a recreation center beyond, let's say, the obvious fitness or sports programs. What kinds of relationships, coaching, mentoring, and informal teaching unfold there?
Absolutely. Camaraderie, for one. Not just for our youth, because it's very important for our youth to be active and engaged, but also for our seniors. You know, we see our senior population as one of our more vulnerable populations that could, be isolated because as they age, they may have friends or family who have, passed on and not as much activity in their lives. So being able to come to the rec center and not just engage with people their age, but also engage with the youth. That youth building relationship between the senior population and the younger generation is really great and happening in our rec centers, especially in our centers like Butzel Family, where we see our senior population. We have a crochet and knitting club that also helps the younger generation learn how to crochet and knit. So that mentoringship right there, that building of relationship right there helps not just the seniors, but also the youth as well.
You're talking about really strengthening the social fabric, sorry, no pun intended there, of a city, especially in communities that may not have many other places to gather. I wonder if you could get a little philosophical for me right now and just talk a little bit more about how this does strengthen the social fabric of a city. I mean, even just thinking about the intergenerational connections that you're describing, what are some other ways that you see rec centers doing this?
I see it too. What we're working with the CVI groups and DPD to have more youth involved and more mentorship with those youth, those at-risk youth in our city, right? So I see our rec center being a place to bring that together. This summer we hosted the crime violence intervention groups. I know you guys have heard of them.
Absolutely.
We hosted a basketball league where each group gathered teams. They gathered youth in their neighborhoods. And from my understanding, the youth that were on the teams were typically the ones who could not make their high school or middle school basketball team. So they brought them together. We had the facility for them. We helped purchase the uniforms. What I saw was not just mentorship, but also the ability to help care for the individual child. They fed these children after the game, and the children were looking forward to that meal, looking forward to spending time with their coach after the game and their players after the game off the court talking. They even, one Saturday I was there, they even went swimming together in our facilities. And so that, build team camaraderie off the court, but also mentoring and catering to the whole child.
Well, Detroit's community violence intervention programs have been really crucial in helping to decrease violence and crime here in our city. So I think that's an important point to note, that the relationships that these groups have with the rec centers sounds like it's quite fundamental.
Absolutely. There are two of the groups we have allowed them to have office space in our rec center because they didn't have a brick and mortar where they can meet at, where they can bring their community to. So it is very important that we partner with these CVI groups, not just helping to fund the initiative, but also give them a space so that they can be successful, and rec centers do just that.
It's the Metro on WDET. I'm Robyn Vincent. My guest is Crystal Perkins. She's the director of the General Services Department for the City of Detroit. We're discussing the recent opening of the Chandler Park Fieldhouse. So, Director Perkins, briefly, how long did it take to build and what kinds of input went into creating this project?
Yes, we did the groundbreaking for the Chandler Park Fieldhouse January 2024. And so it was just complete just a few weeks ago, maybe about a month and a half ago. And so it took a lot of community input, city involvement, advocacy from the Chandler Park Conservancy. That's one of our partners on that east side, in that east side area. They advocate for not just Chandler Park, but the community as a whole that's directly impacted in that area. There was a recreation facility gap in that area, and it had been 19 years since that area had seen a brick and mortar facility. And so just basically the advocacy of Councilmember Johnson, the advocacy of Alex Allen from the Chandler Park Conservancy, and then the huge generation that we received in the city from the American Rescue Plan Act. That huge generation, that huge donation helped us see this facility.
I'm glad you're bringing up federal funding because it sounds like that funding was really integral to meeting a community need. But right now, there are a lot of cuts happening in Washington, and not much is being passed to invest in infrastructure. Just a few years ago, the Biden administration passed several laws that gave communities vital funding streams. As you mentioned, the American Rescue Plan Act is one of them. The Inflation Reduction Act is another. The CHIPS and Science Act. Now, the American Rescue Plan Act, as we've been discussing, that was vital in funding Chandler Park's rec center. I'm wondering, are there concerns about getting more of these federal dollars to help Detroit get projects like more rec centers built?
So it's uncertain, right? And so uncertainty does bring about concerns. But in Detroit, we are a strong community. We know that what we have to work with so far has built a strong foundation, and we will continue to seek federal grants. We will continue to seek local grants. We will continue to seek donations from the philanthropist community. So we are committed to making sure that the infrastructures that we have here in the city we'll be able to maintain and continue to build them for the next generation.
It sounds like it might mean getting really creative, though.
Absolutely.
Now, the Chandler Park Fieldhouse is not the only park project the city has been working on. I'm thinking about how the city purchased the former Dexter Elmhurst Community Center and anticipates completing an $8.5 million facility renovation, which will be renamed the Helen Moore Community Center. Shout out to Mother Moore, the longtime advocate and activist. What can you tell us about what the addition to the Helen Moore Community Center will be?
So the Helen Moore Community Center will be a great addition. It will be a great asset to our inventory, especially in that area. That community also has been without a viable recreation brick and mortar center for quite some time. And so we are excited. The plan is to have that one completed and open by the end of this year. So you can look forward to us doing another celebration for that community. But again, it brings together a facility where the community can come and enjoy the amenities, but also connect. There will be a park next to it. So, park and public spaces are basically great benefits for our community. And so what we can't do inside, we can do outside and vice versa.
And then there's the $20 million Brennan Recreation Facility in Rouge Park, which has been funded with money from the foundation of the Detroit Pistons owner. Yes. Now, that facility has plans to break ground this fall. What should people expect to see?
So this fall, we are excited to break ground at this facility. Once this facility is completely constructed, the the neighborhoods will be able to have an indoor facility. Now, right at Brennan, we currently have the 2 swimming pools, which is great. That facility gets a lot of attention in the summertime. It's just that once the summer is done, where does the community go, right?
Yeah.
And so now they have an indoor space. There'll be the basketball, there'll be volleyball, there'll be the opportunity to have dance and meeting spaces for the community, but in a new state-of-the-art facility.
The last thing I'm wondering for you, Director Perkins, are there other public projects, let's say field houses or rec centers, that the city really wants to build but doesn't have the money for right now?
I can't think of right now what we are looking to do that we aren't able to do right now. I can say that another facility that we're looking to have as part of our assets real soon is our senior center. And this center will be strictly for seniors because some seniors we do hear that, sometimes they want a space that they could, have like-minded, like-minded, same age in the same space. So we are going to be opening a senior center later this year as well, which will be on the east side near King High School.
Wow. Okay. This is exciting news. Crystal Perkins is the director of the General Services Department for the City of Detroit. Director Perkins, thanks what you're doing to bring the community together.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
On WDET. Coming up next, this past weekend, people protested the Trump administration's rollback of federal unions and its aggressive immigration enforcement policies, among other things. We'll hear about how those policies have been affecting people in Southwest Detroit. This is the Metro on WDET. Stay with us.